Can you give us a little backstory from the court's perspective on what happened and what's happening with that case? I know it's one that's of considerable interest to people here and elsewhere.
I'll say two things about it. Number one, the case wasn't entirely thrown out, and the public should just go and read the opinion to see what I mean by that. Number two, I kind of view this as a teaching moment, because the answer to your question is, I'm not going to say. I mean, this case is pending before our court. There is dialogue going on at our court. There are going to be briefs filed in our court on the very questions that that article raised and more, maybe less. And we're going to have to go behind closed doors and make a determination. And it would be wrong to forecast my vote. You know, of course, I only have one vote, but forecast either my vote or what the court will do substantively with that case.
Of course, I'm not asking you to tell me in advance what you're going to do. I am asking you to help us understand procedurally what happened. Now, we visited a little bit about this beforehand. The fact that the court is reconsidering the case should not be automatically interpreted, correct, that the court's going to overturn itself.
That's correct.
Right. And the fact that the court's willing to reconsider the case likewise does not mean that it's going to rehear the case. There's a distinction between that, right?
Yes, not necessarily. Well, I mean, what happens is the motion for rehearing was filed, and in that case there were a lot of amicus briefs, and so there was a lot of law being presented to the court. The court granted the motion for rehearing, and I believe on that same day set out a briefing schedule to the parties, saying, you know, here's the schedule for additional briefing on the question before us, and I don't think that briefing has been completed yet. It might be very close. Procedurally, what will happen after that briefing is done is the case will come back before the court, and then I'll do this conducting, like I was saying. Right. What do we think about this case? And judges will say, who knows? We got it exactly right. We need to change something. We ought to hear oral argument again, or you know, and there may be some other thing that is done.
How often does the court make this decision? In other words, is there a recent instance that you can give me of the court weighing in, whether it was entirely throwing a settlement or an amount of money that was given out, or partly throwing it out, and then it comes back around and says, actually, we're going to reconsider this case? How often does that happen?
In less than 3% of the cases that we decide that we grant rehearings, probably closer to 1%.
So what happened in this case, to the degree that you can say? Why this case as opposed to the other 97%?
Because going around the room, there are votes that said we should hear this again. And the exact reasons in each of the judges' minds might be different. Right. Some might, you know, I mean, it's possible that a vote to rehear means we think we got it wrong, or it might be a vote to rehear means there's been enough law presented to us that additional clarification would be good for the state, so that you know, people in these oil and gas situation will know what to do.
You acknowledge it's rare, though, for something like this to happen?
It's rare, but it's happened a number of times since I've been on the court.
Okay.